Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome to another recap of the stream that Jeff did. So I'll be going over this. Oscar took the notes, so hopefully it's good. So we'll go ahead and get right into it. Someone had mentioned to him about green being broken. He responded saying that they had a good meeting about the next cluster and how he feels he feels good about the direction that the next cluster is going and the direction that all the color associations are going to be going moving forward. So that's going to be pretty good. He said that the reason there hasn't been the top 8 results for GP London is because they were being kept secret since there's a GP in Spain and some of the players who top 8 went to keep their list secret until then. I think they're actually up now. You'll know if our website is updated with the GP. Speaking of which, the GP from this past weekend should be on our website as well. I'm not sure how up to date it is. Oscar's in charge of all that. I am currently without internet, which is another reason this video is coming out to you guys a little bit later than usual. He did say that the Japanese team was not aware of the international standing or the stance of competitive players. He made it clear that he is the voice of the players when going to meetings, but he feels that things still need to be worked on, and the next big project is gaining the trust of retailers again. This is something he brings up several times in the stream, is them working on bringing back in retailers. That they have done some research and on small retailers, and it shows that this gap has not fully been bridged again. And in the US, they can't use distributors to gauge the interest of players through them. So they're trying to bridge this gap between them and the actual small-time local game stores and different things like that. It was mentioned that Sherry is a problem that needs to be fixed now before it ends the game. He said you have had people complaining about Lumi and Rachel, and while yes, it's a combo, it's not viable. He said Lumia is better with Beelzebub and such, and with Otherworld Dreams Gone, it slows that deck down. So it seems like he doesn't think that Sherry's too big of a problem. And Alex Blannon had asked if or said that the Sherry deck is too good. He asked what they're going to do. And Jeff did say that there is an answer in R4 to Sherry, and that things will be adjusted carefully as far as answers and answers to answers and all that stuff in R4 and going forward. But he understands that there needs to be balance brought back to the game, and that's why he's always working on things like the ban list and all that, to hopefully get things sorted out. Once again, it was asked if dual stones are going to be brought back for the next cluster. He said they're still having meetings on it. He personally is 50-50 on it, on whether they should or shouldn't bring back dual stones, but yeah. He mentioned at several different times that, like at one time he mentioned that yes, they need to support the players, but it's still very important to gain the support of retailers beforehand. And he said players should be a #1 concern, but he says that retailers need to be a place where you can actually go and play and buy product and stuff like that. So that's why they're focusing a lot of effort, it sounds like, on the retailer end before they switch back to mainly just focusing on players and stuff like that. He reiterated something from last time, which was that for R3 they had changed printing companies, and the current company does not have the machinery to make nice boxes. Fortunately, it doesn't look like either nobody asked or he didn't answer why they switched companies when the other one was doing so well, both with the card print quality, the box print quality, everything, and then they switched and it just all went to hell. So even if they like improve the consistency of it, it'd be hard to see how they could be as good of card quality as before, considering just the sheer like inconsistencies across just like pure blacks on the cards and stuff like that. It's just weird, but hopefully we'll see. He did say that R4 is going to be printed at that same print company, but this time they're actually sending people from the company over to oversee it, and they'll be improving the quality of the cards, hopefully in R4, sounds like, but once again, like I said, we'll see. Another question that Alex had asked is how he felt about the lack of marketing in the US. He made an example of like European countries that have distributors heavily pushing the game and stuff like that. And Jeff said that US distributors are just box movers, not promoters. They don't really care about the game. They just want to move product and all that. But they are looking into hiring someone to promote and push the game in events like at cons and stuff like that. Conversation along this line is not something he can necessarily discuss with us, but he just all he can say is it's something they are looking into hopefully in the future, but he just can't discuss things like marketing with players. But hopefully, because that's yeah, and like that was a problem with casters as well, is there's like almost no marketing at all for it. So hopefully they fix that for what is their biggest game. It should be something that they're putting all their effort into marketing and getting new players into it. Or they could be waiting till like the next cluster when the game's in a little bit better place. Another question was asked why there's no places advertising more, like an official post showing the winners of GPs. He said it's too often that people are just randomly posting in the US group and you have to sort of search down this stuff, and how there used to be someone posting this, but not anymore. And he just sort of acknowledged that content creators are helping in this regard. In terms of promotion, he also wants to make a content creator pack with logos, nice artwork and such, so if people want to advertise, they can do so with these packages and make their content look better and looks good for the game overall. So that sounds kind of interesting. I'm not entirely sure what it means by that, but it sounds kind of cool. He was asked if they've considered reprints in current sets of older cards, and they said he said they have considered making little slots for things like that. Instead of introducing a new mechanic or an all new card or anything like that, they just bring in one of the old cards and stuff like that. So it's something they have discussed. So that'd be kind of cool, because I think reprints of specific random cards that would work in new clusters is cool. It's something I actually really liked with Pokemon, and it made it so you could always use, you had different options of a card to use as far as like artwork and style and all that. So that'd be cool to see. When asked how many rulers are in R4, he said 3, and that's all he would say right now. 3 rulers, including one of them being Rhea. And he did confirm that the secret chase cards are not rulers this time around. He said they're actually cool this time. So I'm really excited about that, to see what they are this time, because that could be really fun. When asked if Alice would make a return, he said not in R4. R4 doesn't appear at all. And he said he assumes that the order quota has been filled for the second print run of TSW. He hasn't heard anything as of yet, but he knows that it was discussed and they're wanting to streamline the process to get the product out as quickly as possible for the second print run of R4 or R3. So that'll be really cool to see, because I really want to get R3 boxes that have correct rulers and not bad print quality. Hopefully they at least make halfway decent boxes, because like I've said several times, even if they can't make the fancy boxes, which I think is honestly kind of dumb that they don't do that anymore. But even if they can't do that, they should have at least make boxes that aren't complete and utter crap, that just fall apart. So he said that Welser does have a couple cards coming in R4 for all you Welser fans. Probably, I'm going to assume not enough to make them viable, but something to look forward to. He said when originally someone asked if there's inverse cards in R4, he said no, but then he said, wait, there are some in there. So that could show that maybe there's really not that many. There's only a couple, which would kind of suck, because he also said that there's not going to be any support really for Rhea cluster rulers in the next cluster, that they're going to be focusing on the new stuff. There might be cards that help and really work into those decks, but nothing will be specific like, oh, here's a card for Tigress specifically and stuff like that. So if there's not many inverse cards printed in the next set, that means that there won't be any in the next cluster, so we're just sort of stuck with these inverse cards that we originally got, which would be kind of unfortunate. He also, just as a side note, said he would never allow another Baja Blast type of deal happen again while he's working there, so that's good to know at least. He once again reiterated that Wanderer will get attention, but things like things like getting product and such, but he said people need to support it. They can't just say they like Wanderer. People have to actually go to Wanderer events and different things like that. Otherwise, there's nothing the company can do about it, because as far as they can tell, no one's interested in Wanderer. They just say they are. So just once again reiterating that. He said that he does hate erratas. Erratas are just meant for typos only, nothing else, because they're bad for physically printed cards for obvious reasons of people getting the cards, and only hardcore players would know that they're actually supposed to be printed another way. Although I would argue the same issue arises with banned cards, because only hardcore players for the most part would know which cards are banned, because you go to the exact same place on the website for erratas and bans. So but you know, that's just me. When talking about judges, he said some of the new tests for becoming a judge are finished. They're writing something on it, so the test will be available online, so info should be coming soon for that, so keep an eye out for that, you judges in the making. When asked about restricting cards to a specific ruler, he said only if it was a specific card type itself. But the idea itself he isn't against, and he did acknowledge that the null mechanic has been a hard one that they've been trying to balance, because Either it's becomes super strong because of what the null effect is, or it's just not competitively viable. So if you guys are wondering about Scarlet and what's going on there. For the next set, because we had seen something about Time Will, I think it was, and he said Time Will is kind of like Moon Will, not an attribute, but can pay for free will costs and other Time Will costs, kind of like how Moon Will worked essentially. So that'll be kind of cool to look forward to. He has made his own Ascended Rulers to pitch to the company. For you guys who love Ascended Rulers, me too, I thought they were super cool. But he said no results as of yet because the program is put on hold. They're getting things figured out and put together, and which is kind of difficult. So as of right now, there's no info on Ascended Rulers. It's something he tried for, but to no avail. He said that Vingolf as a concept is still around, but there's no plans for another Vingolf right now. It's been discussed, but it sounds like it's just on the back burner, probably until the game gets back in order to where it should be. He was asked about those Altart Duel Stones that we had seen, I'd mentioned on the news a bit ago, and if they'll be coming to the US. And he said yes, he's working on ways on getting them to the US, and he's thinking of different ways. So hopefully those get here, because I really, really want all of those in sets of 10. So, but that's good that they're actually working on getting to the US, because I really don't like region locked promos. I don't see the reason behind it really. He did once again reiterate that the company knows about the issue with green. He said it will be decent at least for the rest of the Rhea cluster, but going into the next cluster, the attributes have an actual attribute pie. And he also said that the rulers have a ruler pie, and they're all going to stick to that. So that's interesting that there's not only the color pie of like green does this, blue does this, etc., but of a ruler pie of this ruler does this, and etc. So I'm kind of curious what that means and what all that entails, but that sounds kind of cool. He said all the art for Time Spinning Witch is really pretty, essentially, and he showed this image from it. He said this is going to be officially revealed tomorrow on Monday. But he revealed it on stream, so he said it's her first part of her support, maybe a ruler or something like that, don't know, but I really like the look of that. He also showed off, see, I wasn't sure, Oscar's going to have to maybe clarify in the comments or something like that, if these were the context of him showing these, but he showed this Force of Will pouch, which is super awesome looking, and these Force of Will energized coins, which some of you might have seen being sold in like the marketplace and stuff like that. So I'm curious the context of some of that, but it looks super cool. So that's about all the main points that were covered in the stream. Hopefully that brings you guys up to speed with all that happened there. And any other news, I'll obviously talk about this Wednesday on Force of Will News. Assuming I do it. Like I said, I don't have internet right now, so making videos is hard, but I'll do my best, and we'll see you guys next time.